back to Sebring. Less than 8 hours to go now. Bob Varsha along with Jeremy Dale, Calvin Fish, and Andrew Marriott. We've been with you since the green flag at about 10:40 a.m. Eastern time this morning. Shortly, we will have another crew of Speed Vision announcers in, led by Greg Kramer, along with two-time overall winner at Sebring, Derek Daly, and former World Sports Car Champion, Derek Bell. So be sure to stand by for that. Stay with us all day long. The leader in the GTS category, the number 4 factory Chevy Corvette, making its way onto the Ullman straightaway. Andy Pilgrim at the controls. Up to about 165 miles an hour before getting hard on the brakes. Here's the leader in the GT category, that new 4-liter V8 powered BMW M3, hands of Jörg Mueller and JJ Leto. We'll take a break and you'll have a new set of announcers when we return live for more flag-to-flag coverage of the 12 hours at Sebring. We will be back later in the evening. Stay with us.
Well, David, one of the things that vet's been struggling with is getting long stints out of the tires. There's your GT leader, the number 42 Schnitzer V8 BMW down in the pits, and obviously driver change. That'll be JJ Leto getting back on board that machine.
And this has not been a plain, clear sailing ride for these boys here. Bit of a test session. We've spoken a lot all through the show here about this car, the V8 engine, prepared by BMW Motorsport in Munich, then given to Schnitzer, will later be given to the PTG team here. But let's get an update from Dave. Dave?
Mueller's in the car now. I spoke to, or I'm sorry, Leto just hopped into the car, as you guys said. I spoke to JJ just a few minutes ago. You might have seen we showed his tootsies, as they say, on the air, and I told him his feet were now international superstars. He said, I knew I should have had the manicure. But that's not going to keep him from going slow. Everything looks very routine now. He's off the jacks already, and we'll run back and see if we can find Jörg Mueller and get a word from him as well. He's just dropped his helmet off, and we'll go and do that right now. Jörg is in the background, and we'll shoot right over and find him. Jörg, can you tell us exactly what is, well, right now, how is the car working?
Yeah, I mean, for that we've got the car so shortly, you know, the guys did a fantastic job. They worked till 5 o'clock last night. And although we had a lot of problems during the weekend with little things like alternator and all that shit, we still found a quite good balance, you know, which we haven't had at the beginning. And yeah, car's quite good to drive, and no warnings, everything runs like it should be.
Not bad for an admitted test session, right?
Yeah, I mean, we're a little bit worse on fuel, as I see, of course. But you know, the race is still long, and something can happen to them as well.
Mueller sounds very confident about their chances, guys.
Well, it's interesting because all the information about this team that they've been releasing is this is a test session preparing for Le Mans, just trying to get this brand new car in place. They've been running awfully fast, and it almost seems like that is in fact a good way to approach it. Just if you don't expect to win, if you don't plan on winning, you're not even sure if you can last, go hard, find out if there are flaws, where they are, what'll break, get it fixed, and if you end up having a run at the win, better for it.
Now, let me just tell you a little bit about this car. We know it's got a V8 engine. It's actually causing a little bit of consternation with the Porsche camp, because they are of the opinion that this BMW car here actually contravenes the spirit of the rules. Not the rules. They are allowed to put this engine in here, but they believe the spirit of the rule, Derek, is being stretched a little bit because they never made a road car, unlike Porsche, who have made 1800 GT3s. So there's a little bit of inter-camp rivalry raising their head because of this V8 M3 right here.
Well, quite naturally there would be, and it is very, very disappointing. But this stuff happens in motor racing. Everybody pushes the edge of the envelope. And if Porsche could, remember the Dower car at Le Mans.
Good point.
That is a good point indeed. And after all, they have filed the paperwork with the ACO to build some street models of this car, thus meeting the rule itself. Interesting. We'll be back. To refresh a little bit and collect your thoughts. You sound just elated to be a part of this program.
It's a great program, that's for sure, and the car is just so much fun to drive, you can't believe it. We're learning as we go, and what we learned right now is we definitely don't have the chassis as good as these other boys do. We are running, you know, we were running the hard tires Andy didn't like them to the extent that they've gone now to the softer ones. I just ran a double still on softer ones, and the car understeers horribly on when the new tires are on. But by the end of the set, the rear tires went off. I had a pretty well-balanced car, and got pretty racy there for a while.
Dorsey, you look hot and sweaty. I mean, your sweatshirt is just completely soaked, as are your overalls.
Here we go. This is some of the drama that's occurred, and it has been there. That's Bill Auberlen, the number 10 PTG BMW, who's having a pretty strong race. An immense amount of smoke. Something let go inside the engine and the radiator area, and he waited up there a long time. Darren Law, a little bit later on, the number 98 Kelly Moss Racing Porsche. Terminal problems as well. That car parked and is done. This was the pass for the lead. The number 23 McKenna Porsche looked pretty strong, but that new V8 Schnitzer BMW got a beautiful drive down inside, made the pass, and picked up the lead at that point.
Engine's last. Hopefully their engine last. Car didn't, so.
There's your sister car here. Nicholas, there's been a lot of talk about the new V8 engined car. Can you tell us something? We know it's a little bit faster, a little bit better, but is there anything significant about the car that we haven't discussed yet? I mean, is it the future for BMW with GT racing?
I definitely think so. I mean, this car is completely different from the car you'll see on the screen there now. It's a completely different developed car and engine. Drivetrain, everything is completely new. So I mean, I will be very impressed if they can finish the race here. I think we have some, you know, the hopes are to finish, but I think the drivetrain and the gearbox is probably, you know, the most concern. I don't think the engine is that big of a concern. I think that will run.
Okay, good.
How about chassis and the bodywork? It almost looks like the number 42 car has a little bit different look to it. Is it a more aggressive body style?
They have stiffened the chassis up, and they also have a little bit different aerodynamics on the car. But otherwise from that, basically built on the same chassis as the car you'll see on TV right now.
We saw earlier in the show, we saw J.J. Leto when he got out of the number 42 machine, incredibly hot. He had both feet in an ice bucket. He had ice on his hands.
Doing just but I tell you, it's a lot worse than the old check, like the old hairpin. Just a load of tire ball in front of you.
Exactly.
There's a look at the number 2 Audi. Now in second, Emanuele Pirro once again on board and doing a great job, because the number 18 Golf car did make a quick stop down the pit lane. And so it is an Audi factory 1-2 once again.
On the basis of their marketing department. And that's even true for our Panos cars, or road cars, is if you develop a road car, if you're going to sell it to the public, it should be able to race if it meets all the rules. And their sequencing was that Celine came out, but I happen to know that Celine is going to sell and is selling that car as a road car. It'll be the same engine, the same package that's in this race car. And I give them Celine and Tony Johnson credit for putting all this together and looking forward. Now, the ACO made the decision, looked at all their factory, all their information, all their cars, all their design, made a decision that this is going to be and will be sold as a road car, and they've let it in. But I was saying also, you know, I remember 1997, the FIA said that cars in 96 had to be homologated to race in 97, and bingo, at the last moment they changed for Mercedes to come in, and Mercedes didn't have to homologate till the end of the year. And our team, the Panos team, lost about 3.5 months of development time, and our first race turned out to be then Sebring. So it comes around, I guess, and we all have to learn to live with it.
Don, you have come into sports car racing, created the American Le Mans series. You bought racing car companies, involved in so many different things. You are a forward thinker. Is the business plan...
Giving Audi a pretty good test today.
Sure.
We were able to give them a good test last week in Texas. It's about development, and racing isn't whether you have an assurance that you can win all the time. What brings people and makes them want to race is if you can give them a little bit of hope and a chance to win.
Right.
That's what makes it. And privateers are important. Without them, there wouldn't be sports car racing. In our series, we take care of them with the prize funds and the awards, but we want them to see their technology increase.
But the backbone is factory-supported racing teams and factory-supported teams.
I'd say it's not exactly the backbone, but the fans want to see this, and it has a huge influence on where they go to watch.
Okay, good.
Well, if the factories make the investment to build the cars and then provide them to a variety of teams, I mean...
Privateers. I suppose, as Derek could say, you know, we just hitched a couple more wagons to our freight train.
Yes, you did indeed. You did indeed. Now, something that I really try and bring across to people when they try to understand why people race. Hugely successful, Len, last year, this program, initiated by you here in America. Can you measure it, Len? Do you see record number of cars? I don't think it's a coincidence, because when Firestone came back to Indy, their retail sales went up 70% within 2.5 years with their success at Indy on the racetrack.
Let me jump in 1 second. Our leader in GT is in the pits. Dave?
That is J.J. Leto and his world-famous hot feet get out. It will be York Mueller jumping in, and no other reported changes desired or apparently being made on the BMW at this point. Again, this wonderful sounding V8 in this Beamer is just running extremely well. And Greg, tell me right now, I think, are they on the same lap as a 23? Or did they get a lap on them?
They were a lap up on them, so I think they may have, according to the monitors. Now, of course, that needs to reset yet, but that's what it showed. Now, right now, we are watching that car that sits in second spot. The number 23 entry is on its way down the Ullman Straight, heading into Sunset. So we'll be watching, following the number 1 overall leading Audi. Of course, I made a mistake. I said that was Laurent Aiello still on board. That's Dindo Capello driving that car. But here comes that Porsche that's making its way around. We'll keep an eye on the monitors here and see exactly what sets up. There is the GT leading BMW.
No,
here comes
that's
the car.
a big change, exactly.
And there it is. We're watching for it. And no, according to the monitors, he is now on the lead lap.
1 minute, 25 seconds behind.
Yep. Oh, a little problem, and the BMW is able to head out, but so there's the story. That's going to be very interesting indeed. And for a team that came in here professing that, well, this is just a test session, we don't know that the car will even last, so we're just going to go out and treat it as a test session to get ready. They are putting on one strong debut performance here at the 12 Hours of Sebring. The new BMW Motorsports built V8 having a good debut run here at the 12 Hours. Back in 8th, struggling once again in qualifying. Frentzen 9th, and 10th is Oliver Penny. So there's a good idea of what's going to happen when we get to Malaysia a little bit later tonight. There's your leader still in the GT division, the number 42 Schnitzer BMW, and that now is Mueller behind the wheel.
You saw a quick glimpse of the crowd as we came back on the air there. More than 100,000 people here today. Last year, over the course of the 3 days, you had 170,000 people here, but there are more people here, as Don Panos mentioned earlier on, the largest attended sports car event in America. I mean, and it is an event here. This is just more than a race. This is an event in itself.
Well, they're very confident. There's well over 100,000 people here today. And yesterday, I took some time. We were able to get around and explore. I think it was probably easily the biggest Friday crowd I've ever seen here. They had a record of 170,000 total for 3 days last year. They could be well underway to breaking that. By the way, the effect repairs get him back out. He was on track, but awfully close. Just managing to finish up awfully strong as well. There were the final results from the opening round yesterday. Boris said keeping his momentum in those last 4 races of the championship last year well and truly alive. Jen Losey, but Kenny Wilden, Tommy Archer showing that the new body styles that are being brought into Trans Am are going to be very effective as well. It was a great race, and this Trans Am series is going to be something to watch all season long, which of course you can do on Speed Vision. So keep checking your schedules for that. It was some great racing. On board here, the number 43 Schnitzer BMW. That is the team car, not one of the V8s, as you can tell by the engine note as you listen. That's one of the inline 6s, and that's Dirk Mueller behind the wheel of that car, teamed with Frederick Ekblom. And they're back in the order just a little bit, but not too far, Grip. Very different sound from this car than from the number 42 V8.
Did you mention Boris said? No, he's obviously in this race too.
Yeah, that's right. I didn't mention.
Okay, good. I wasn't sure. I was listening to something else.
Okay. We are back at Sebring. There is the number 43 Schnitzer BMW on board with that car right now. Again, you see the logo of BMW Motorsport. This car run by Schnitzer is one of the inline 6s, as you can tell by the engine note. In short order, it will be picking up one of those BMW Motorsport built V8s. They will be running that car, as will the prototype technology group. They'll eventually all be running those V8s. You know, we were talking earlier about how spirit of the rules as we watched the number 2 Audi go by. Spirit of the rules, Porsche being upset. Well, of course, back when PTG was sort of the front runner in the GT3 division, it was then called. Porsche came out with this new 911R GT3R, and they went, well, now this is a huge new development, and BMW was upset about it. So part of it's just the politicking of the sport. Somebody else builds a little bit better or more effective package at this point, and things change.
And remember, it's important to point out, spirit is what you're talking about. This car is absolutely within the rules of GT racing. And I will tell you something else. What a fabulous looking motor car. That just looks the business, that BMW M3.
It has very much like a German DTM kind of look to it, doesn't it?
That
fender flails, you know, more aero on the lower part of the chassis.
Great.
Just look how flat it is. I mean, it really is so flat going around the corners. If you actually look at the other cars, the Stuck cars, you'll find that they seem to roll a lot more.
Right.
I noticed it earlier watching out the track.
Now here, the engine note there, it's that high revving V8 sound, but it's a distinctly different sound. It actually sounds like some of the Trans Am cars, like Lou Gelati used to run with the crossover pipes. It really, in the small diameter on the pipes, it's an interesting note to it. This is an M3, obviously, and there isn't yet on the road to go out and buy a V8 M3, but BMW makes a nice line of V8 powered cars. The 540 and the 740 are all V8s.
And what is good about the fight now on the racetrack between Porsche and BMW, it really has caught the interest of both factories. Both factories are both manufacturers, BMW and Porsche, are passionate behind the success or potential success of this GT class. That is great. That is what drives this class to greater heights. And when we talk about manufacturers in this series, we should also remember Chrysler will be back midway through this year. They are developing a P car, a prototype car at the moment. Cadillac will be back with a development car, not the ultimate car that they will have in 2002. And also we should mention MG, the great name of MG from England, will also return to Le Mans this year. So Derek Bell, this is almost a resurgence, isn't it, of sports car racing, maybe to get back to the IMSA heydays that we've seen in the past.
Most definitely. I mean, these people will come back if they can see some future. It's just that there's been this indecision over what's happening to sports car racing, and now it's starting to show positive, you know, future, and that's why they're coming in. Of course they will. They've got to. They want to expose their products.
Exactly right. And of course that's why BMW is involved, certainly. And we have an opportunity to visit with Dr. Mario Tizan of BMW, who discussed their decision to put their factory effort in the GT category.
We are really positive about ALMS. The series has developed quite well over the past years. And for us it's very important to be in the States, to race in the States, because it's a big market for BMW. And especially when we were there with our LMR prototype, our colleagues in North America said to us, it's great that you are here with the LMR, but what really counts for us is the M3, because our M customers in the States are all race nuts, and they are closely watching what we do with the M3 and ALMS. So it was clear to us to focus on the M3 and to build a new car for 2001.
Will you race at Le Mans?
We will not be in Le Mans this year, certainly not. The car is still under development, so what we really focus on is to do the ALMS series this year, and there is no room to do such an important and demanding race like Le Mans.
That's going to be great. That GT battle is going to be fast and furious. Dirk Mueller here behind the wheel of the number 43 car, again still running the inline 6. Obviously they're anxiously awaiting the development of the second and PTG prototype technology group, their cars as well. They will all be running those cars, and then I think the fight in GT will well and truly be on at this point. Derek, that gets back to what you're talking about, whether it's prototype or whether it's GT level. It's all about exposure. It's all about marketing and letting people know what they're capable of.
Absolutely, and this series could really put it there for them, as long as we get this stability for the future, which we mentioned just now, and it is heading that way. Don Paynos is so adamant that this is the way it should go, and I admire him immensely for that vision he has.
he has fought hard to bring it back to that point as well, back to the glory days, if you will, and it's awesome to see it. There right now is your top 10 overall. It's still Ronaldo Capello up front. Just a little over 6.5 hours in, 5.5 hours or a tad less.
Course yellow for another 3-4 laps, and then another 2 laps, another full course yellow. So they did not play for us, but definitely the Quattro system, it's incredible. Just launching out of the corner, it's tremendous. But we were lacking a little bit of top speed, and I think the NSX, because the weight and the horsepower they have, I think they just he was just sitting over there playing with me, I think.
And of course that is the World Challenge GT and Touring that we will see live all season long here on Speed Vision. But Mike, now tell me the truth, just because you're an Audi driver, have you had a little dream that maybe someday you might step into this thing and get a chance to see what this type of horsepower feels like?
Well, I got a big dream actually.
Yeah.
And I told Mr. Mirage there's a big picture of the R8s in that trailer, you know, in the S4 trailer. And every time I sit on that trailer, I just keep on looking over there. I don't see my dream in front of me, but, you know, I hope it comes through.
Maybe you should go over with a highlighter and change Andy Wallace's helmet paint job into yours. Subtle hints. They got through the season that has had some problems. Well, let's go back. Oh, and a problem here is this we think is the 43 car. This is the 43 Schnitzer BMW, and that looks like it. There's no driver in it. It's a mechanic behind the wheel. That usually means it's going behind the wall.
That is terminal.
It's a very sudden development.
That is so sad, because that is such a good job. You remember, this is still a development program. The button was not pressed on this V8 program until September. So really they were behind so much. Dave, you down there?
Yeah, and I just spoke with Charlie Lamb, the director for the program here, and he said it was a cylinder head. They are withdrawing the car.
Okay.
Now this was the car that Leto and Mueller ran at Texas, of course, and now they've got the upgraded or the V8. So this is a car they're going to go, we believe, behind the wall here. A tough problem. It's not the first time though we've seen a car go behind the wall today. We were leading to this just a little bit sooner. The paint is again the number 26 Celine, currently being driven by a very fast Oliver Gavin. But there's the margin back to second place in the class. The number 4 Corvette, Andy Pilgrim there. Last time by start finish, the margin about 8.5 seconds, and it has been that close. And we have seen, I mean, it was obvious that the Celine quicker in qualifying at any rate. Obviously Andy is driving the wheels off of that vet right now, staying as close as he is to a very fast Oliver Gavin.
And Oliver Gavin really is beginning to run well on this thing. The last lap was a 2:03.1. Compare that to Andy Pilgrim's last lap at a 2:04.4. So in that lap alone, there was almost a second gained by the Celine over the Corvette.
Pilgrim doing a great job. You can hear how soon he gets on the throttle. He's very greedy with it, but he makes it work. Coming up on the number 6, that's the Prototype Technology Group. BMW, currently behind the wheel of that is Peter Cunningham. We were just talking with Michael Bellotti. Peter being very busy here this weekend. That car right now still right in the fray in the GT battle. Currently 4th in that category, a bit behind the top 3 machines right now. But nonetheless, a very good run. The Prototype Technology Group, that inline 6-cylinder car, same one as the number 43 that just had problems. But as BMW Motorsport creates more of those absolutely glorious V8 engines, that will this team will be fielding those cars as well. And I think having 4 of those cars going up against the huge number of Porsches out there, this GT battle is going to be exceptional.
Absolutely. Just look how hard he's driving this thing. Got the tail skipping out, exiting corners. Teammates in this are Hans Stuck and Boris Said. So I mean,
it's on TV or some of the greatest still pictures from Sebring have that very same glow about them. Looking at the exit of the pit lane, there goes the number 6 BMW on its way by, and there's the Porsche back in the fight. But now, of course, as we said, 7th overall is the number 42 BMW, currently driven by J.J. Leto. The number 23 machine there is your new leader in GT, J.J. Leto. in the BMW M3 V8 machine. And looks like he may be making a move in. Is he making a pit stop? No. He continues on, folks. So Leto out front in GT, and as you can see, the sun setting very quickly here. Takes on a
holding the bottom of his back together, and that's what ended that career. Now remember, Boutsen was a Grand Prix winner with the Williams Grand Prix team, was very successful in sports cars, but was forced to end his career against the barriers at Le Mans. I haven't seen him at a racetrack since then. Good to see him back.
It's wonderful to see him back, and of course his experience will be well lent to the champion team. 5 times he won in Grand Prix and very fast at Le Mans.